Hello and welcome to the penultimate part of my commentated Let's Play of Heavy Rain. Getting relatively close to the end now, and here's another chapter with everyone's favourite asthmatic, Scott Shelby. Although the fact that he is asthmatic has been relevant exactly once. And not even that relevant then. Well, twice. He bought those inhalers, I suppose. So, after the death of Manfred, we head back home with Lauren.
So, you think the origami killer killed Manfred?
That makes sense. Didn't want him spilling his guts to us.
And you suspect Gordy Kramer, right?
Oh, him or one of his men. Gordy has the time and the means, not to mention the fucked up attitude along with it. He's only a suspect, but he's a pretty guilty looking one.
Are these your files on the case?
Yeah, I've been working on him for a couple years. I built up a mountain of paperwork.
Magazines about origami? You think the killer could have subscribed to one of those?
If he was even remotely interested in origami in the last 30 years, his name may be in there somewhere. Trouble is, there's over 500 names. That gets us squat.
I'm starving. Do you have anything to eat?
Well, I'm no chef, but I should be able to make some scrambled eggs if you like.
Right. I'm soaking wet. I need to warm up a little. Is it okay if I take a shower?
Be my guest. Go in my bedroom. It's the next door. I'll cook up the eggs while you're under the shower.
Does anyone actually say under the shower? Is that an American thing? I don't know. You just in, surely. And I know you're under the shower head, that is kind of the entire function of the thing, but... Anyway, the quickening of the plot has in no way diminished Heavy Rain's appetite for pointless little sequences like this one where you cook some eggs. Complete with dramatic music in the background. Like, there's nothing significant happening here. He is literally just cooking some eggs. So we get this whole little action sequence here. How to Cook Eggs by Heavy Rain. As if waiting for eggs to cook in real life wasn't boring enough, now you get to do it in a video game.
Eggs should be ready by now.
And there we go, some eggs. Seriously.
I took the liberty of borrowing your bathrobe.
Looks better on you.
Hey, that almost looks good enough to eat.
Fuck you.
What's that?
The notebook I took from Manfred's place. According
Finally,
to this,
relevance.
about 30 clients bought spare parts for Royal machines in the last 10 years. The killer may be one of them.
Oh, you know, checking out the alibi of 30 clients, one by one, that's a lot of legwork.
Except that if we cross-check them with the list. The list of subscribers to origami magazines. You still got that, right?
Yeah, I've got... Lauren, wait.
Doesn't even eat the fucking eggs.
If the killer really used a Royal typewriter and if he subscribed to an origami magazine, his name should be on both lists.
Well, Lauren, I mean, that's just an assumption, but... Yeah, I suppose.
His name is here somewhere. Help me. We're gonna find him.
Finally, something is happening.
only guy whose name is on both lists died when he was 10. What are you gonna do now? Dig up his coffin, make sure he's dead?
I know it doesn't make any sense. Unless the killer was only using his name.
But why use the kid who died 30 years ago?
Well, that's what we came to find out.
Called using
The
a false
is John
name,
Shepard.
moron.
He should be on a grave around here somewhere.
You never give up, do you? This girl knows her mind all right. No point in trying to reason with her. She's convinced she's onto something. And here's me, thinking we're wasting our friggin' time in this friggin' cemetery. I should be investigating Gordy Kramer right about now. And here I am, standing in a cemetery, pouring rain, looking for the grave of a kid who's been dead for 30 years.
Excuse me. I'm looking for the grave of a young boy who died about 30 years ago. His name was John Shepard.
So after the exciting cooking egg sequence, we get an even more exciting wandering around a graveyard sequence.
Thanks.
Stuff's happening, sure, but it's just it's interrupted by this mindless tedium. We have a name at last. John Shepard. Died 30 years ago. Assuming it's the same John Shepard, I mean, that's got to be a fairly common name. You're not telling me there is only one John Shepard who is in Philadelphia, or who has been in Philadelphia in the last few years.
It's cold. It's raining. I'm standing outside getting soaked.
Philadelphia's a fairly big place, isn't it?
Gotta hand it to her. That girl is one really determined chick.
Hey, Scott, where are you going? John Shepard's grave must be somewhere around here.
Did anyone ever tell you you shouldn't shout in the cemetery?
Take it easy. The dead don't mind.
For someone who had her will to live practically completely sapped by the death of her own child, she's suddenly become extremely cavalier about the concept of mortality. Anyway, graves. This guy digging a grave.
Excuse me. I'm looking for the grave of a boy named John Shepard.
Straight ahead, a little further on.
Thanks.
About time.
These flowers are fresh. Looks like someone's still tending the grave. Origami figures.
That's one hell of a coincidence.
Oh, youngin'. That one I knew well.
You knew John Shepard?
I've worked this graveyard nearly all my life. I remember what happened. It was in 77. October, I think.
Haven't had a flashback all game. Time to have one now.
Yeah, good for nothing.
Plus people totally say that.
Get the hell out of here! God, beat it, you lousy no-good brats! Come back when your fucking mother comes home from work.
He's drunk again.
What are we gonna do? It's pouring rain. We're gonna get soaked if we spend a day
Just
out.
listen to these kids' voices.
Well, at least you won't get beat. Little Rain never hurt nobody. Come on, let's go play.
Where the hell are they supposed to be from?
You can't catch me!
The kids you play as especially, just listen to this kid's voice.
Mom won't be back from work till later. She wouldn't let him treat us like this. John's right. We can't just stand here all day. Might as well go and play.
That's not an American accent, that's... I don't know what accent that is. It's one weird accent trying to do another weird accent really badly. I have no idea, but it's not. Anyway, so yeah. Hey, let's go play in this dangerous construction site. What is it with 10-year-olds and being fucking stupid in this game? Can you think of a more dangerous place to play?
Move your ass! I'm waiting!
They'd be safer looking for unexploded bombs on Salisbury Plain.
I told you to watch your head! You dumbass!
Also, his brother's a prick.
Jeez, you're nothing but a slowpoke.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing in this scene. Like, again, I can never remember. I think I thought you had to hold down L1 and R1, but it's not. You have to press them repeatedly. Consequently, he bumped his head pretty much every step. I should have got a trophy for most resilient skull or something.
Come on! Move your ass! I'm waiting!
Anyway, I finally get to the other side.
Bet you can't do that! Jeez, you're nothing but a slowpoke. Come on, loser!
Seriously, fuck this kid.
What you doing? You're coming or not?
Yeah, 'cause this looks safe.
Yippee-ki-yay! You don't need to do this if it's too hard for you.
No chance, I can do it alright. Just you watch.
Just that voice. All the misplaced emphasis. And yeah, it requires those twisty movements, so I suck at this bit. I seem to get the knack of it at this point, however. So, any thoughts on what's going to happen yet? Who this kid might be?
John, wait for me.
Get a move on!
Another bit where I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing, like swaying the controller from side to side, didn't really seem to work, but anyway.
Come on, it's your turn! It's time! The jump of death!
Fortunately, there's a haystack immediately beneath.
Let's play hide and seek. You go and count to 20 and try to find me, okay? 1,
What I love about this sequence is that you can
3,
cheat.
4, 5,
Look. And I immediately do because his brother's a
9,
prick.
13, 17, 20. Those cries, that's John's voice. Help!
He's drowning.
Now listen up for him. I should follow his voice. My foot. My foot is stuck. Grandma, up around there.
Loses a 10-year-old brother to drowning. Then has a 10-year-old child lost when he's trying to cross the road. This kid's got to be Ethan, right?
What are we gonna do? Hang on, John.
Guess what? This kid isn't Ethan.
Just hang on. Go on, hurry. I think the water's rising. I'm hurrying. I'll be right back.
But the poor kid never did find any help. And his brother drowned in a pipe full of rainwater.
The boy that lived, what happened to him?
Well, all I know is he got separated from his parents. I think he got adopted. Well, looks like a storm's coming. I guess I better be getting home.
Christ, what a horrible story. John Shepard drowned in the rain while holding his brother's hand. Do you think he could be the origami killer?
Come on, let's get back in the car. The kid died 30 years ago. Who's still tending the grave after all these years?
His brother? It seemed to be the obvious thing to say.
There she goes again, surprising me. Wait,
What's the matter?
Want to know where I can get one of those umbrellas? They're all the rage.
Yeah?
it's Charles Kramer.
Gordy's father? What's he doing here?
He's putting flowers on John Shepard's grave.
So we have yet another piece of evidence linking Gordy to the murders. Well, in some way seeming to implicate him. I mean, it's not Gordy either, but you knew that already. He's the most obvious red herring in the history of fish. Anyway, Madison Page. Having escaped from the clutches of the other completely unrelated serial killer. Oh, and you earn a trophy for cooking those eggs in just the right fashion. Because that was such a plot-critical section of the game, it just had to have a trophy, right? Welcome to the Blue Lagoon.
Paco Mendez. He's the guy who rented the Doc's apartment on Marble Street. I better be careful. He might be the killer. If this Paco is one of the buddies of Dr. Death, I better watch my step.
I don't even think there's anything I can say about the music that sums up the... yeah, I'm not even going to comment. So, we get yet another crowd scene.
Everything's gonna be all right. I find the guy, I ask a few questions, and then I get the hell out.
So, we wander around, listening to irritating music. And trying to find the bar. So far, this is no different from most visits to nightclubs as far as I'm concerned. Finally found the bar, and walk straight up and immediately get the attention of the bartender. That is nothing like my experience with nightclubs.
Do you know him?
I should. He's the boss. He's over there in the VIP lounge.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we've switched to a track that is about 0.1% less irritating than the last one. Fucking move! Struggling through an irritating crowd, getting bored. Yep, it's a nightclub, blah blah.
I've got to speak to Paco.
That's not possible. Mr. Mendez has asked not to be disturbed.
He looks like a trustworthy fellow. Why you can't just barge in while he's talking to his goon, I'm not quite sure, but there's like an invisible wall there, so you can't.
Paco seems to like his girl sexy. Sexy in a kind of dumb way.
Sorry, lady. Invited guests only.
Maybe I could catch his attention by strutting my stuff nearby.
Okay, so as a male gamer, can I say that there is only one thing more awkward than playing as a... Only one thing more awkward than playing as a female character trying to seduce a male character. And there's only one thing more awkward than interactive seduction, and you'll see what it is later on. But for now, we get this interactive dance sequence, and I don't know. This probably says all sorts about Western attitudes to sex, but I think it's impossible to play sections like this and not feel like a pervert. But anyway. So the initial seduction attempt doesn't work.
Guess it's time to sexy up my performance. time to play the sexy girl.
It's a busy nightclub, so naturally there's no one at all in the toilets. Feeling like a pervert, rising. Interactive gaming as you assist the attractive female character in ripping her skirt off. Yeah. Okay, on the 1 to 10 scale of musical irritation, I'm going to rate this track somewhere around a 14.
Hey, you!
There, plot. Sorry, wasn't speaking much there.
It's your lucky day, sweetheart.
Wasn't all that much to
The
say.
boss wants to invite you to his
So, yeah, things happening.
Hey, thanks for accepting my little invitation. You new around here, honey? I think I would have noticed you before. My name's Baco. Are you?
Madison. I'm Madison.
Ah, I like the way you move, Madison. You're making me all hot under the collar.
Maybe we can continue this conversation somewhere more private.
Oh, sure, baby. Yeah, come with me.
So we follow Zebra Skin to the back rooms. At least we do when Madison finally gets the concept of climbing the stairs.
I go in, and I can talk to the gun, and I get out of there before I get into big trouble. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything is going to be alright.
So, welcome to my little kingdom. I just get in the way of the good things, sweet cheeks. So, show me what you can do.
If the previous scene was awkward, this one is even more so.
Take it all on,
Could I have a drink? You know, just a little drink to break the ice.
No, we already broke the ice, Mama. Let's get wet.
Ouch.
Do your thing.
Sorry, that metaphor hurt. That line really hurt.
Could we just talk first?
Oh, no. We don't need any more talking, baby. I all talked out. Now, show me what you can do.
I'm sorry. I think there's been a little misunderstanding. Look, I'll just go. No harm done. Another time.
I think it is you who have misunderstood, honey. I'm tired of wasting my time. It's now or never. And I never take never for an answer.
Think of something. There's got to be some way out of here. The lamp. If only I could find some way to grab it. Oh, I know.
Interactive sexy dancing. More awkwardness.
Baby, sweet cakes. Sugar. Ah!
That's what I call kicking butt. You go, girl.
Yes, fine. So, moving on.
Okay, Act 2. Let's hear Loverboy sing.
I particularly want to hear him sing. He sounds like an absolutely terrible singer. Interactive, slapping the guy around 3 times.
Ah!
If you call out, I'll kill you. Got it?
Shit. What you want?
You rent an apartment on Marble Street. I want to know why.
An apartment? I don't know what you're talking about.
You have the option of which particular way to mildly torture him. We opt for punching him in the forehead.
Not bad.
Well, to be honest, it was random because I had no idea what any of the buttons would actually do.
A little bit, Mama.
Fortunately, we get to find out by using all 3 of them.
Boss? Is everything alright?
If you value those prized balls of yours, Poe, then it's time for you to talk.
Interactive squeezing a guy's testicles.
Ah! What you doing? Stop it! Stop it!
I'm only getting started. How about some more?
Yeah, all right, game. We get the point.
I never set foot in that apartment. I gave the keys to some guy. He said he needed a place. He had money.
Nope, we have to go
What was
for a
that guy's name?
3-button squeeze.
I don't know his name. I swear. Ah! Ah!
Nope, 4 buttons.
Ah! Shepard. His name is John Shepard.
Well, that's a
all I know.
coincidence.
I swear it. Ugh.
There, that wasn't so hard, was it? I really appreciated this romantic moment. But I gotta shh. See you next time, lover boy. Time to get out of here. I've got a massive headache.
So have I listened to this fucking music. So we have a name, John Shepard. Don't have a physical description though, because he completely omits to ask the question, what did he look like? Maybe that would have required a 5-button squeeze and they just weren't prepared to implement that, I don't know. So, goodbye Blue Lagoon. Now next up, we have Norman Jaden in the refreshing location of... the Blue Lagoon again!
I'm here to see Paco.
Paco? There ain't no Paco here, fella. Get lost.
Are you absolutely certain?
He's in his office. Take the stairs.
Oh, it's you. Scared me. I didn't hear you come in. A crazy beast came around here asking questions about the apartment on Marble Street. I don't know what you're doing down there, and I don't want to know. Or whatever that shit is. Beginning to draw attention. Look, man. I know you kept me out of prison and all. But that fucking bitch nearly killed me. So everything you ask, I think my debt to you is paid. Hey, wait, what you do? Don't fuck around, man. No, wait. I can still help you out. No, don't keep me...
Looks like we had another witness silenced. And Jaden comes to interview Paco just as he's kind of dead. Fight sequence. With mysterious guy in full-length jacket with scarf round his face. Presumably the origami killer. Why didn't you shoot him? So anyway, the heavy-set old dude in the full-length jacket and scarf goes down into the nightclub, and Jaden makes no attempt to pursue or even ask the guard where he went.
Did Paco know the guy came
Like
to see him?
seriously,
Sorry, I don't speak cop.
Watch my lips, asshole, because I got no time to translate. Did Paco know the guy? Yes or no?
John. He said his name was John. Friend of Paco's. Always let him straight up.
so we have three characters all now with the same lead. But seriously, it's a crowd of scantily clad young people, and you've got this guy in a full-length coat, a scarf wrapped around his face. He's not gonna blend in. Chase him! But no, instead we decide to go ARE on this room. After we managed to find his glasses, anyway.
Madison Page. What was a journalist doing here?
Yeah, she's a journalist. Not a photographer.
Paco Mendez was no saint. His rap sheet reads like the telephone book. Orchid pheromones. The fucking origami killer.
He's apparently sprayed himself in pollen.
The killer was looking for something. .45 cal. His coat pocket. I tore it off during the fight. 2 receipts from the same gas station. Interesting. Madison Page? She may be a witness. A bullet, right between the eyes. Instant death. .45 caliber semi-automatic.
So, fairly huge amount of evidence, not to mention an actual physical sighting of the origami killer there, right? Let's hear Norman's perspective on this.
I seem to spend most of my time getting the shit kicked out of me. Shit. Looks like a dead end. Road to nowhere.
Apparently, he thinks he has no leads. You have the guy's first name, you have his gun, and you have his fucking gas bill.
Gotta go. Need to think about it.
What more do you need? I'd say there's, you know, a decent amount there to go on. But no, no leads at all. Anyway, returning to Ethan Mars. He was being very useful by sitting crying in his motel room.
Ethan, are you alright?
I couldn't do it. I was supposed to kill him to save Sean. And I couldn't do it.
You're not the origami killer, Ethan. You're not responsible for those murders. I can prove it.
That changes nothing. Saving Sean is all that matters now.
Yeah, so... You know how I said there was something even more awkward in a video game? That would be interactive sex scenes. Okay, so you make the choice whether to kiss her or not kiss her. I kissed her because that is clearly going to result in a happier ending where they get married, right? The rational choice, of course, would be not to kiss her because, hey, your son's drowning. Get a move on. But anyway, we had to get some more use out of that piano, right? But yeah, the interactivity could have stopped by now. You do not need to interactively take off her jacket. You do not need to interactively take off Ethan's shirt. You do not need to interactively kiss her neck. I'm just saying that maybe I'm being stupid or prudish or something, but this is up there with the nude shower scenes as being unnecessary. There is no artistic purpose to this. This is simply gratuitous, and the game going, look, we're mature, we've got a sex scene. Which makes no sense. For one thing, he is considerably more physically injured than is, you know, apparent from this. And for another thing, his son is drowning. This is not the time to get laid, arsehole. But as I say, I choose it not because I think it's the right choice to make, but because I think that the game thinks it's the right choice to make. And that it will result in a more romantic and happier ending. Anyway, so that happens. Now we have to interactively disentangle Ethan from Madison. And now there is something in this scene which I think is interesting to consider with reference to the boundary between player and character. And it's particularly highlighted here because we have two player characters in a single scene, but of course only one of them can be a player character
Things
at
might
a
have worked
time.
out between us,
Currently,
if circumstances had
Madison
been
is an
different.
NPC.
Only one more origami figure. Then I find my son.
Anyway, the point I'm going to make is shortly to become apparent. As Ethan interactively puts his trousers on. The last letters, 961 Rainbow Lane. We find Madison's camera and her notebook, and therefore discover her profession, which is journalist. Which is something that has been kept secret. Not only from Ethan, but from the player. And this I think is interesting because you play as Madison. And in theory, in this game at least, you have access to the motivations, desires and actions of your
Yes.
characters.
All this time and I had no idea.
You even have access to their
Ethan,
thoughts.
what's the matter?
So it could be argued
I thought I meant something to you.
that it makes
Listen,
little sense
You're a pretty good nurse for a fucking journalist.
for Madison to be a journalist, since we've
Ethan,
been playing
I wanted
as her
to
for the
tell
whole
you that-
game
What
and
kind
had
of article are
no
you gonna
indication
write? My
that
life
she
with a
was.
serial killer? No. How I
a
caught the
journalist.
oregano. Maybe you'll get a book deal. I hope it was fucking worth it.
Ethan, it's not what you think.
You lied to me, Madison. All this time you fucking lied to me. I thought you wanted to help me, but you're only thinking of writing a
When
fucking
Madison
book.
lied to Ethan, she was under the command of the player character. So now there is, to a degree, I think,
It's true.
the implication that the player character lied to
And I knew
Ethan.
that you were the father of the boy who had
Which
disappeared,
doesn't
and
make any sense, of course, because the player
I
character
wanted to
didn't. The
cover
player
the
character
story.
didn't know that the
when
player
I saw
didn't
what
know
you
that
were
the
going through to
character
save your son,
was lying
and
when the player made
and
the
I
choice for
understood
the
how much you
character
love
to
him.
lie, if that makes sense.
I wanted to tell you the truth.
Now,
but I couldn't.
in this particular case, I think
I was
that that
afraid that-
is entirely
that you
forgivable,
may not
because
believe me.
Madison's identity as a
I was
journalist
afraid that you'd ask me to go.
does not actually... It's not...
All I want.
Madison's identity as a
to find your
journalist and
son
Madison's
alive.
desire to help Ethan out of
When it's all over,
human
I wanna be
decency,
with you.
those aren't actually mutually exclusive. Incidentally, this is entirely why I'm having Ethan forgive her. This is why I want my characters to be on
sorry,
the same
Ethan.
page, because they are, in some sense, both supposed to
I'm
be
so
me,
Sorry.
my avatars in the universe of Heavy Rain. So as I say, because the journalist thing isn't contradictory with the decisions you've made as Madison, I think it works as an acceptable, if fairly predictable and
The last
cliched,
origami figure.
plot twist.
The last
but
letter, then I'll know we're shot.
This serves as a
Take
precursor
care, Ethan.
to a much more jarring player-character
I can't lose you
divide,
now.
which we're about to see in the coming scenes. Anyway, piano music.
I'm gonna go find something to eat. Wait for me. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Obviously he doesn't. He runs off to 961 Rainbow Lane. Couldn't wait 10 minutes, but, you know, he could spare the time to have sex. Hold on, I've just remembered that isn't actually what's happened. It's just what I assumed was going to happen. Actually, something else happens. So, now playing as Madison. We go downstairs. It's the police.
Cops. They're looking for Ethan. It looks like a raid. Come on, what was the damn number?
207. We know it was 207. We didn't even need the gratuitous
Come
screenshot
on,
we just
come
got.
on. Pick up the phone.
Hello?
The cops. They're in the motel. You've got to get out of here.
Action sequence. As we run along balconies.
He's still on the move! We get him! He's making a run for it! He's on the balcony!
We've got guns and we're apparently not prepared to use them. Excuse me.
Whoa!
I was trying to make the decision to leg it downstairs, but apparently you can't really do that. So instead we go over the roof.
Don't move!
Blake has clear line of sight on him here, but doesn't shoot. So we go and hijack a taxi, GTA style.
Hey, what's the matter with you?
There are several police cars and a helicopter in the vicinity. Why do none of them pursue? I have no idea. I knew Blake was a psychopath, but I didn't know he was a moron. Anyway, Shelby. And you earn a trophy for wasting time to have sex with Madison. Home sweet home for Scott Shelby.
Lauren?
I'm sorry, Scott.
You should have listened to me, Mr. Shelby. I should have dropped the investigation.
Your son is a serial killer. How many people does he have to kill before you turn him in?
Gordy has his faults, but he's still my son. You have no children, Mr. Shelby. You can't possibly understand. You leave me no choice. Your investigation is over. For good.
In a game with a theme of bad fathers, neglectful fathers. One of the few fathers who actually will do anything to protect his son is unfortunately sheltering a murderer. Could have just shot him, but instead tries to drown him and gives him a chance to escape. Yay, now we can see our certain death. Uses the cigarette lighter to burn through his ropes.
Oh, shit!
Tries to.
Shit! The rope might...
Eventually succeeds. At this point you have the option to abandon Lauren to her fate, given some urgency. But I don't suck at this game, so I don't do this.
Lauren, wake up! Lauren!
Why does she need to be awake? Just get her out of the car. Escape successful.
I was gonna take up swimming again. This isn't exactly what I had in mind. You got a car back at your place? Mine's obviously pretty fucked up.
Yeah, sure. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go settle a few scores. Come on, I'll take you home. Lock your doors and windows and don't let anybody in but me, okay?
Be careful, Scott. I don't want to lose you.
Time to deal with Charles Kramer. Having fucked up his own car, Shelby proceeds to fuck up Lauren's. Apparently we'd run out of cornflake box tops, so this time we needed to ram into the house. I assume that was self-defense, but he does just seem to shoot all of his security guards in this scene, whether you really want to or not. I'm pretty sure the option to that, the alternative to that is just fail. So yeah, not much chance of a non-violent approach in this scene.
Stay back! Don't come near me, or I'll shoot!
Fuck it.
Please, don't. Oh.
Your idiot son killed all those kids, didn't he? He's the origami killer.
No, no, he's innocent! He's not a killer! Not a killer!
You're a fucking liar. Now tell me the truth.
No! No, please! Don't hurt me!
Last chance.
I don't know! I swear! I don't know anything! Stop! Stop! I beg you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything.
Gordy always wanted his fun, you know. He wanted to be like the origami killer. He kidnapped that kid and he held him under the water for a little too long. It was an accident, an unfortunate event. He just wanted to
We have a
play.
copycat going.
He told me everything.
He was crying. He was so sorry for what had happened. Whatever he
As
did.
you knew, Gordy Kramer is not the
Gordy is
original
my son.
origami killer, and is instead responsible for only one child murder.
No one will miss him.
What?
That boy, Gordy killed. No one will miss him. Just street trash, like so many others.
You disgusting pile of shit. And what about John Shepard? Why did you put flowers on his grave?
I own the construction site where he died. I never forgot. I've been putting flowers on his grave for 30 years.
John had a twin brother. What happened to him?
I don't know. He was adopted, I think. His mother should know. Her name is Anne. Anne Shepard.
Yes, I grasped the surname, thanks. I suppose you could have remarried.
My heart! Quickly! I need my pills. In that drawer, there.
I decide not to be a dick, so I save his life. Shame the same couldn't be said for his security guards, really. But they don't get a name, so they're not important.
I'm no better than him if I lie.
Thank you. You saved my life.
I already regret it.
Madison, meanwhile, has apparently found the same lead.
John Shepard died 30 years ago. Hope his mother has all the answers to this puzzle. Hello, I'm looking for Anne Shepard's room. Please sign the visitor's book. Are you a member of the family? Yeah, you could say that. Oh, she'll
In
be
the sense that
pleased
it's
to
not
have a
true at
visitor.
all.
No one ever comes to see her. With the Alzheimer's, she has trouble remembering things, but it'll still please her. You know. It's room 19 at the end of the corridor. Thank you.
The thrill of following directions. Will you find room 19? Will you realize which side of the corridor has the odd-numbered rooms on it? Will you assume that this woman is Anne Shepard, only to then realize that she isn't? And then walk backwards and finally find room 19. Yes, you will.
Hello, Mrs. Shepard.
Will
Is it
you
time
get
for my
sick of
pills
this
already?
game's soundtrack containing about
No,
4
Mrs.
tunes?
Shepard,
They're never on time with my pills. I don't know what they do here. In the other hospital, they were always on time. But here,
My name is Madison Page. I'm a journalist. I'd like to ask you some questions about your son.
I don't like this hospital. The food isn't very good, you know.
Well, blame your health insurance.
Do you remember John?
My Johnny. He is a good little boy, you know.
Well, doesn't find the safest places to play,
He
does
had a
he?
son named John, and John had a twin brother.
Do you have my pills? It's time for my pills.
Your other son, Mrs. Shepard, John's twin
At
brother.
this point, by the way,
What
we
was his
can note
name?
that John
other
Shepard
son?
died in Carnaby Square,
I have no other son.
the same
I
place
never
that
had any children.
Ethan seems to home in on after his blackouts. Yet another reason to assume
I know what
that
happened
the
at Carnaby Square.
twin brother of John
remember?
Shepard and the likely
Carnaby
origami killer
Square.
is Ethan Mars.
I think I used to
He
live there
isn't.
a long time ago. We didn't have much money at the time, you know. We had to make do with very little.
I think your son is in trouble, Mrs. Shepard. He's done some terrible things. I need to find him. Do you understand?
Terrible things you're telling me. He never came to see me, can you believe it? In 10 years, never. No one forgets their mother, do they?
Try to remember, Mrs. Shepard. John's twin brother was placed with a foster family after the accident. What was the name of the foster family?
I'm for a television, you know. They said I didn't have enough money. It's a pity. I'm fond of television.
Mrs. Shepard, your son may be linked to a series of murders. Perhaps you have some information that could help the investigation.
Are you a new nurse? Where are my pills?
So you can find things that you can use to jog her memory. In particular, to the surprise of no one, her children liked origami figures. So you can make some origami figures for her. If only origami were actually that simple, I could maybe do it. Not that I've ever particularly tried, but
I love origami. But that's not my favorite
unfortunately, there are about, I think, 5 different origami figures, and you have to find her favourite one. Will she tell you what her favourite one is? No. So I'm going to assume that either you have to find it at random, and I just keep getting unlucky and therefore have to do each and every bloody origami figure before I find her favourite, or, and this is my sneaking suspicion, her favourite is always going to be the last one that you do. Although, actually, thinking on it, there are like, the fact of her favourite one is plot relevant. And there is
love
dialogue based
origami,
on which one is
but
her
that's not
favourite
my
one.
favorite one.
So I suppose it must be fixed, and I just get really fucking unlucky. But anyway, so we go through all the bloody origami figures. I skip the dog. That's it. I skip the dog. I decide, nah, we'll not just go through them, we'll go to the back one, we'll do the frog. You guessed it, the dog is her favourite one, so I have to make 4 bloody origami figures before we finally...
I love origami.
No,
But
I'll
that's
bet
not
it
my
isn't, you
favourite
demented
one.
old bat. It's the bloody dog. Here we go, here's the dog. Excitement as you hold down triangle, then down, then L1, then left, then square, then down again, then R1, and then right.
Oh, you know how to do these little dogs too. My children loved origami. I taught them how to do it. John loved the little dogs. He always wanted to call them Max. Max, Max, Max? All dogs with the same name. I was wasting my time telling him they couldn't all have the same name. But he always wanted his paper dogs Max. It's funny, isn't it?
Seems to be working. She's remembering stuff. Gotta find something else to show her. Did you make these origami figures?
My little paper animals. They played with them for hours. I showed my boys how to make them, you know.
Yes, your boys, Mrs. Shepherd. John and... what was your other son's name again?
My other son? I only had one son. My little Johnny.
You don't seem to get many flowers, Mrs. Shepherd.
No, but I love them. My son knows that I love flowers. I know he'll be some.
So you know those flowers that we saw that were interactive on the way in? Yeah, we're going for those.
Are these your children, Mrs. Shepherd? John and his brother? Is that them?
They're good little boys. Their father never looked after them. Always drinking. They didn't have an easy life, you know.
Thrill as we walk back up the corridor to steal the flowers, to take them back to room 19. Well, one of them anyway.
What a lovely orchid. My sons
That's a
loved
coincidence.
orchids. We used to grow them in the... When John died, I laid orchids on his grave.
It's not all
I
that unusual
cried
to put
when
an
they
orchid on a
told
grave.
me I'd already lost one of my children, and now they were taking away another one, you understand.
The foster family, Mrs. Shepherd. What was the name of the foster family that adopted brother?
They were really very nice people. I met them, you know. In the beginning, I used to go and see my little boy. And then I got sick and I couldn't go any longer. Perhaps he thought I'd forgotten him. He must have thought I didn't love him anymore.
Hey, Mrs. Shepherd. What was his name?
But I loved him. If you only knew how much I missed him.
Please, Anne. His name. What was his name?
Come closer.
Madison gets to find out, but we don't, because there's an overdone plot twist at stake. Another minor player character divide. However, the end of the game is just around the corner, so all your questions will be answered, apart from the myriad that won't. So ends this section of Let's Play Heavy Rain, and we will be resuming soon with the character whose identity you're about to discover when we get to the loading screen. Come on. Ethan, and the final trial. See you then.